The silence of space was shattered by the unmistakable hum of an approaching alien fleet. The stars twinkled faintly in the distance, but for those who could see, they weren't the only lights in the sky. Out there, on the edge of Earth's atmosphere, Commander Zalor stood at the helm of his flagship, the Inferno, an enormous warship that seemed to be made of living metal, a terrifying feat of engineering. His fleet was vast, stretching out across the dark expanse of space, each ship cloaked and ready for the final assault on Earth. Zalor's thoughts were calm, even confident. His people, the Thraxi, had faced countless civilizations across the galaxy, and none had stood a chance. Their advanced technology, artificial intelligence, AI, and vast armies of robots ensured they had never failed. Earth had been considered a backwater planet, primitive, weak, and ripe for conquest. Humans, they had heard, were little more than creatures of instinct and emotion. Nothing to fear. The voice of General Karas, a retired alien officer, echoed in the back of Zalor's mind, but he quickly pushed it aside. The general's warnings had been nothing more than superstition. Fighting the humans is a death sentence, Karas had said. They are not like any other species. Zalor snorted at the thought. Humans. Death sentence? He laughed to himself. The general was an old fool, clinging to ancient fears. His fleet was ready, and victory was all but assured. Earth wouldn't know what hit it. But then, something strange began to happen. The first sign of trouble came quietly, too quietly. The Thraxi fleet's communication systems flickered for just a moment, a glitch in the network, nothing more than a small hiccup. But as Zalor watched, the flicker turned into something far worse. His screens began to blink erratically. The ships in the fleet, once cloaked in the shadows of space, began to lose their invisibility, like a veil being pulled back from their shimmering surfaces. Zalor frowned. This wasn't right. Their cloaking technology was flawless, and their advanced AI was never wrong. So why was this happening? His fingers tapped rapidly against the control console, but the data was coming back scrambled, corrupted, and useless. His ships were still cloaked, but something was interfering with their systems, making them visible to enemy sensors. The attack hadn't even begun, and they were already at a disadvantage. Suddenly, the entire fleet came to a halt. The lights inside the Inferno flickered once, then died completely, leaving Zalor and his crew in pitch-black darkness. His heart raced for a brief moment. This wasn't just a glitch, something was disabling their ships, one by one. What's happening? Zalor demanded, his voice sharp with alarm. His officers scrambled at their consoles, but every single one of them came back with the same answer: no communication, no control, no power. A deep, unnatural hum filled the air. Zalor's eyes widened as he realized the source. The fleet was being attacked. But by who? And how? His mind raced. Without warning, an explosion rocked the flagship, shaking the entire vessel to its core. The blast was loud, almost deafening, but there was no visible source. The ship's internal systems went into emergency lockdown, flashing red alerts, as the hull groaned under the pressure. Zalor gripped the edge of his command chair as the floor buckled beneath him, but he didn't move. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not to them. They were the most advanced race in the galaxy. How could they be under attack? Who dared? The explosion hadn't come from within their own fleet, nor had it come from any known enemy. It was as if some invisible force had cracked open their defenses. Something human. The thought made Zalor feel a chill run down his spine. Humans. As the chaos erupted around him, General Karas's words echoed in Zalor's mind, louder than ever before: fighting the humans is a death sentence. They are not like any other species. Zalor gritted his teeth. Impossible. The humans were still far behind technologically. Their weapons were primitive compared to the might of the Thraxi, their fleets hardly worth noticing. Yet, somehow, they had done something that even Zalor's most advanced sensors couldn't detect or explain. "Bring the shields online," Zalor ordered, his voice steady despite the panic in his chest. The officers scrambled to activate their defense systems, but the shield generators failed to respond. Every system was malfunctioning. The enemy, whatever it was taking them apart piece by piece. The flagship shook again, this time harder. The energy shields flared to life briefly, then sputtered out again. And then, as if mocking their helplessness, a voice crackled over the intercom. A human voice. "This is Earth's Defense Command. We have your fleet surrounded. Surrender or be destroyed." Zalor's eyes narrowed in disbelief. Surrender? There was no way this could be real. Humans. They were on the brink of total annihilation, and they were offering him a chance to surrender. This couldn't be happening. And then, as if to make the message clear, the Earth shook once again, this time, in the form of an orbital bombardment. The blast ripped through the Thraxi flagship's hull, sending shockwaves through space. EMP pulses shot out from Earth's surface, hitting their ships with pinpoint accuracy, knocking out their most advanced technologies, and disabling their cloaking devices. Zalor's ship began to emerge from the cloaking field, revealing the full scale of their vulnerability. Humans had found them. The battle had already begun. A deep rumble filled the ship as Zalor watched in horror as the hidden human star destroyers emerged from the dark void of space, just as Earth's first wave of attack hit. The human fleet was vast, its warships massive and well-equipped with technology that had once been beyond the Thraxi's comprehension. But the surprise didn't end there. As the alien ships started to engage their weapons, their AI systems, once their most powerful asset, were hacked in real time by Earth's own AI. The alien weapon systems backfired, and their own firepower began to target their own fleet, sending several ships spiraling into chaos. The orbital bombardment continued, relentless and unyielding. Massive lasers from human ships sliced through the Thraxi's flagship's outer shell, creating massive holes in the hull. The EMP pulses hit again, temporarily disabling the fleet's most advanced weapons systems. Zalor watched in horror as his fleet's first wave was destroyed. One by one, their ships were torn apart, as their stealth technology and advanced AI became dead weight in the face of Earth's fierce retaliation. The invasion had barely begun, and yet, the humans had already taken control of the skies. Zalor staggered to his feet, fighting to maintain composure. How had this happened? How had the humans become so powerful? The answers were far from clear, but one thing was certain now, this was only the beginning. The Thraxi had underestimated humanity, and now, they would pay the price. The alien commander knew one thing above all, Earth would not surrender, and their fate was sealed. But Zalor's thoughts were interrupted by another shockwave, and as he turned, he saw the human fleet closing in for the kill. The humans had made it clear, they were ready for war. The cold, vast emptiness of space had been a perfect backdrop to the Thraxi's calculated invasion of Earth. They had come from distant stars, their massive ships crossing light years to reach the planet they deemed primitive. Their confidence had been unshakable. After all, their technology was far superior to anything Earth had ever seen. It was a simple mission for them, wipe out the humans and claim the planet for themselves. They were convinced it would be quick, easy, and without complication. The Thraxi commander, Zalor, had stood in front of his war council, boasting of the fleet's unmatched power and strategy. "These humans are nothing," he had said with a sneer. "We will wipe them out with ease. Their technology is far behind ours. Victory is certain." They had sent a massive army, equipped with their most advanced cloaking devices, AI, and robots. Thousands of ships descended on Earth, blanketing the sky in an overwhelming show of force. They deployed their ground troops in the millions, preparing to overwhelm any human resistance in a matter of hours. The plan was flawless. It was a conquest they had carried out time and time again across the galaxy, and there was no reason to believe it would be any different this time. But as soon as the first wave of alien soldiers set foot on the planet, the Thraxi encountered a shocking reality: they weren't facing a primitive species after all. Earth was not the weak, defenseless planet they had expected. Humanity was far more than they had bargained for. The Thraxi's first mistake was underestimating humanity's ability to adapt. As the alien army descended on Earth's surface, they soon realized something extraordinary was happening. Humans weren't just fighting back, they were learning at an astonishing rate. Their AI systems, once considered laughable by the Thraxi, began to evolve in real time. At the very start of the battle, the Thraxi's superior technology, AI-controlled weaponry, mechanized soldiers, and automated warships, was supposed to wipe out any resistance. But the moment the battle began, the humans' own AI systems sprang into action, adapting mid-battle, countering every alien move, and figuring out the Thraxi's battle tactics faster than their enemies could adjust. Humans weren't fighting with the same high-tech weapons the Thraxi wielded, but they had something the aliens didn't: resourcefulness and determination. The humans adapted their primitive machines, turning them into effective weapons of war. Exoskeleton suits, which had been designed for heavy labor, were now being worn by soldiers on the front lines, enabling them to go toe-to-toe with the alien forces. These exoskeletons were not as sleek or advanced as Thraxi technology, but they gave the humans enhanced strength, speed, and agility. It was an unexpected twist that threw the aliens off guard. As the battle raged on, human AI robots, originally built for simple tasks, were reprogrammed on the spot to assist in defense, fight alongside soldiers, and sabotage alien equipment. Humans had transformed their environment, using their limited resources to craft unconventional weapons that made up for the technological gap. Their improvised tactics were relentless, catching the Thraxi off guard again and again. One human soldier, Private Bonnie, used an old tank that had been abandoned by the military. It wasn't much, but with some quick modifications and help from a few fellow soldiers, she turned it into an effective weapon that tore through alien lines. The Thraxi, with their advanced armor, found themselves struggling to keep up with the sudden ingenuity of the humans. For every alien soldier that fell, another human seemed to rise, refusing to back down. As the battle continued, it became clear that the humans were not just surviving, they were fighting back with an intensity the Thraxi hadn't expected. Their victory seemed increasingly unlikely. The alien soldiers, once so confident in their overwhelming superiority, found themselves being pushed back, forced to retreat in the face of an adversary who fought not with superior weapons, but with a united spirit. The Thraxi had underestimated the human spirit, and it was now becoming their greatest enemy. Humans might have been outgunned, but their willpower was unyielding. The aliens' battle strategies were falling apart, and their own advanced technology was being disrupted at every turn. Human perseverance had turned the tables. What was supposed to be a quick conquest had turned into a battle for survival. As Zalor watched from his flagship in space, the intensity of the ground battle was clear. The Thraxi soldiers, many of whom had never known defeat, were faltering in the face of relentless human opposition. In one district, an entire alien battalion was caught off guard and the humans set off an explosive trap that wiped out their command center, crippling their efforts to advance. But it wasn't just the aliens who were shocked, it was the entire human race. For years, they had been told they were nothing but a small, insignificant species in the grand scheme of the galaxy. Yet here they were, facing down an unstoppable alien force, and holding their ground. In New York, London, Moscow, and other major cities, human resistance movements emerged in full force. Civilians picked up weapons, joining the military or organizing their own underground militias. Every street became a battleground, with humans using guerrilla tactics, sabotaging alien supply lines, and ambushing Thraxi convoys. The alien technology, which had once been their greatest advantage, was now starting to fail. The human AI systems adapted too quickly, learning how to counter the alien weaponry and hacking into their communication systems. The humans didn't fight with precision, but with a ferocity that stunned the Thraxi at every turn. The Thraxi found themselves surrounded by a species they had once dismissed as weak and primitive. Humans weren't backing down. Zalor, sitting in the comfort of his flagship, watched in horror as his forces were driven back. He had believed in his fleet's technological superiority, but now, he realized, it was his own hubris that had been his undoing. The Thraxi had been so sure of their victory that they had failed to see the humans as anything more than insects to be crushed. Zalor had to admit it. The humans weren't like any other species. They didn't have the superior weapons or the advanced technology that the Thraxi possessed, but they had something that the Thraxi never had, the will to survive, the ability to adapt to every challenge, and a resolve that was unwavering. His eyes flicked to the view screen in front of him as he saw the human forces in the streets of Earth's cities, holding their ground against an enemy they could not possibly have beaten in a fair fight. Zalor's fleet, the most advanced in the galaxy, was now struggling against the human tide, unable to suppress the ever-growing resistance. The humans were no longer just defenders of their world. They were fighting for their right to exist, and it was clear that no alien army, no matter how advanced, would be able to extinguish their spirit that in the chaos of the battle. The Thraxi began to realize something far more terrifying than their lost battles. The humans, despite having fewer resources and weaker weapons, were showing an incredible ability to adapt, and it was becoming clear that their greatest weapon wasn't technology, it was their ingenuity. At first, the Thraxi had underestimated humanity's technological capabilities. They had believed the humans' primitive tools, small firearms, basic vehicles, and old-fashioned explosives, were no match for their advanced weaponry and superior intelligence. But soon, the aliens learned the devastating truth: humans could turn anything into a weapon. In every major city, humans were repurposing scrap metal, old machines, and even waste materials to create lethal countermeasures. In the midst of the battle, the humans' improvised weapons began to make a real impact. Makeshift explosives, EMP devices, and sharpened metal blades were being used with deadly precision to disrupt alien operations. What was once thought of as useless junk became a resourceful tool for the underdog species. In one of the most daring attacks, human engineers managed to rework broken-down tanks into mobile EMP platforms. They used these mobile units to disable the alien cloaking devices, rendering them visible to human forces. This moment of technological ingenuity stunned the alien commanders, who realized they were fighting against a species that could not only fight with what they had, but could also turn anything into a tool of destruction. The tables were turning. Humans weren't fighting with the best tech, they were making their own, often in ways the Thraxi never expected. Amidst the chaos of the battlefield, another human strategy came into play. As the alien fleet began to regroup, human soldiers infiltrated the alien motherships. Using their guerrilla tactics, they snuck through the dark corridors of the alien warships, silent but determined. These were the elite soldiers, highly trained and ready to fight tooth and nail. Inside the mothership, the soldiers were not just facing the terrifying alien warriors, but also the overwhelming alien technology designed to detect intruders. The corridors were lined with surveillance systems and automated defenses, all programmed to eradicate anyone who dared enter. But the humans were different. They used their environment to their advantage, blending into the shadows and setting traps for the aliens. In one narrow corridor, Sergeant Bonner, a seasoned veteran, led a small team of soldiers to plant explosives at key structural points of the ship. The tension was palpable as they moved in silence, their breath steady but their hearts racing. The hum of alien machinery filled the air as they crept past automated drones that scanned the walls, looking for intruders. As they reached a control room, the soldiers knew the time had come. With expert precision, Bonner placed the charges along the key systems, making sure that the destruction would be enough to cripple the mothership and leave the Thraxi fleet vulnerable. The tension was unbearable as the team silently counted down to the moment of detonation. Then, just as they were about to exit the room, the alarm system went off, and the ship's security forces began closing in. The soldiers had been discovered. They had no choice but to fight their way out. The battle inside the mothership was brutal. Close-quarters combat ensued as human soldiers took on the alien security drones in a chaotic, bloody struggle. Humans used everything they had: sharp blades, improvised weapons, and even their fists. The aliens, with all their advanced technology, could not predict how human soldiers would fight back. They fought with fury, determined to make sure the job was done, even at the cost of their own lives. Meanwhile, on the ground and in space, humanity's AI systems were proving to be an invaluable asset in the war effort. The human AIs, once thought to be primitive compared to the Thraxes' sophisticated machines, had been evolving throughout the battle. They had hacked into the alien systems, using their own advanced knowledge to turn the alien weapons against their creators. Humans had learned to infiltrate the enemy's communication networks, and soon, they had access to everything, from their weapon systems to battle strategies. The Thraxi, who had once seen the human AIs as an insignificant threat, now found themselves vulnerable to their own technology. In one critical moment, the human AI used its knowledge to override the alien ship's weapons, redirecting their laser cannons to fire upon each other. The alien forces scrambled to regain control, but it was too late. The human AI had already gained the upper hand, and now the alien ships were firing on their own fleet. Chaos erupted in the alien ranks, and the humans took full advantage of the confusion. The Thraxi commanders were furious. Zalor, watching from the comfort of his flagship, could not believe what was happening. The humans, who had been seen as a threat only in the most trivial of ways, had now managed to turn the tide. The alien forces, once so confident, were now reeling, with their weapons turned against them, their fleet in disarray. It was a nightmare unfolding before their eyes. The humans, it seemed, had become more than just survivors, they had become masters of the battlefield. But victory came at a cost. During a daring raid on an alien base, Sergeant Bonner, one of humanity's most respected soldiers, was killed. He had been leading the assault when a Thraxi warrior ambushed his team. Bonner fought with everything he had, but in the end, he was overwhelmed. His sacrifice came just as the team had completed its mission, setting the final charges to cripple the alien base. The loss of Sergeant Bonner sent shockwaves through the human ranks. His comrades, who had fought side by side with him through every battle, were left reeling. They mourned his death, but they also understood the gravity of their situation. Humanity had lost a hero, but their fight was far from over. As the news of Bonner's death spread through the human forces, there was a moment of silence. Soldiers, engineers, and civilians alike took a moment to honor the sacrifice of the man who had given everything for the survival of his species. His death became a rallying cry, and it fueled the humans with even more determination. The humans had already shown they could fight, but now they had something more, the memory of a fallen hero driving them forward. The battle wasn't just about survival anymore, it was about revenge for those who had given their lives. The human forces, though grieving, knew they couldn't stop now. Their battle was not only for their survival, but for the legacy of their fallen comrades. In the aftermath of Bonner's death, the humans were more unified than ever. Their technological ingenuity, their guerrilla tactics, and their determination had already begun to turn the tide in the war. But now, with the loss of one of their own, the humans had something far more powerful, the memory of their fallen hero and the unwavering resolve to finish what they had started. This was no longer a battle against an overwhelming alien force. It was a battle for the survival of humanity. And as the humans prepared for their next strike, they knew the Thraxi were about to face the full might of an enemy they had grossly underestimated. As the war raged on, something began to shift in the alien commander's mind. Commander Zalor, a seasoned strategist with decades of experience, had seen battles of all kinds across the galaxy. But as he watched humanity's unyielding determination, he felt something he had never experienced before: doubt. The aliens had once considered humans to be an inferior species, weak, unorganized, and primitive. They believed that with their superior technology, they could wipe out Earth's defenses within days. But as the days turned into weeks and the battle escalated, it became clear that the humans were far more dangerous than the Thraxi had ever imagined. The death of their comrades only seemed to strengthen the humans. Each loss seemed to make them more resolute, more angry, and more determined to fight. Unlike the Thraxi, who had advanced weaponry and technology but often fought for conquest or power, humanity fought for survival and honor. Their fight wasn't about domination, it was about protecting their home, their families, and everything they held dear. Zalor watched as the human soldiers, even after losing their best, kept coming. They did not retreat. They did not beg for mercy. They kept pushing forward, adapting, and changing their tactics. They refused to quit. It was this unity, this refusal to give up, that made them so dangerous. The Thraxi were skilled in warfare, but they lacked the one thing the humans had, resolve. The alien commander was no fool. He understood that the humans' greatest weapon wasn't their weapons or their technology, it was their spirit. He had underestimated them, but now, as he saw human forces rally around their fallen comrades, the realization hit him hard: the war had just become personal for the humans. And in wars, personal stakes often decided the victor. The Thraxi fleet had been wreaking havoc across Earth, confident that their overwhelming firepower would soon crush humanity. They had superior ships, superior weapons, and technology that humans could not even comprehend. But what they hadn't accounted for was humanity's secrets. For decades, Earth had been preparing for the worst-case scenario. While the world's governments had been publicly focused on building cities and advancing technology, secretly, hidden defense systems had been developed. These systems were designed to defend Earth from any alien threat. The humans knew they might one day face a foe that could not be reasoned with, so they had prepared for the impossible. Shield generators stood beneath the surface of the planet, camouflaged and unnoticed. These massive systems created an impenetrable barrier around Earth that could absorb the force of even the most powerful alien weapons. It wasn't something the humans had shown before, and now, it was their trump card. The Thraxi had thought they could bombard Earth into submission, but they were about to learn how wrong they were. The energy cannons humans had hidden in orbit were even more terrifying. These cannons, powered by the combined strength of Earth's largest energy sources, could launch devastating blasts that could obliterate entire alien warships with a single shot. The Thraxi had never seen such weapons before. They were designed to be silent and hidden, waiting for the moment when the fate of humanity would depend on them. As Earth's military forces activated the planetary defense systems, a wave of powerful energy shielded the planet. The aliens could no longer use their direct attacks to penetrate Earth's defenses. The shield generators absorbed each blast from the alien warships, turning their own strength against them. But the humans weren't done yet. The next move was the ultimate weapon, a massive orbital bombardment. With the alien ships hovering above Earth, the humans opened fire. Explosions lit up the sky as the orbital cannons released their destructive force, targeting the alien fleet with precision. Laser beams from the massive cannons sliced through alien ships, disintegrating entire fleets in a matter of seconds. Bright flashes and explosions filled the air as Earth's defense systems unleashed hell upon the invaders. The battle had now reached a scale humanity had never experienced. The sky above Earth was filled with the wreckage of alien ships, their once mighty forms now reduced to burning husks. The humans had turned the tables completely. Where once Earth had been a helpless victim, now it was a fierce, unstoppable force. Huge space battles unfolded in the vacuum of space, with massive warships clashing in a deadly game of cat and mouse. The human forces, aided by their advanced AI, launched coordinated strikes, crippling the alien fleet with devastating precision. The alien warships, once so proud and powerful, were now mere targets. Their cloaking devices had been disabled, their advanced weaponry turned against them by humanity's hacked systems. The humans, working together, used their orbital bombardments, EMP pulses, and ground forces to systematically destroy the alien forces. With each explosion, a new wave of hope surged through the hearts of the human soldiers. They could see their victory drawing nearer. From the ground, humans watched as the massive explosions from the sky lit up the heavens. The energy beams shot down like thunderbolts, cutting through alien ships with deadly accuracy. On the ground, the human forces cheered as they saw the destruction unfold in the sky above them. They knew the aliens had underestimated them, but now, they could see just how wrong the invaders had been. In one memorable scene, a massive energy beam from one of Earth's orbital cannons cut through the heart of the alien flagship, turning it into a ball of fire. The alien flagship, once an intimidating symbol of invincibility, was now a burning wreck. It was a moment of pure victory for humanity, a symbol of their strength and their resolve to protect their home. The sky was filled with the sounds of explosions, the glow of laser beams, and the distant rumble of space battles. On the ground, human soldiers raised their weapons in triumph, knowing they had achieved the impossible. The Thraxi were no longer the invincible force they had once been. The humans had fought back with everything they had, and they were now on the verge of victory. The war had reached its most intense point, and humanity had shown the universe what they were truly capable of. It was no longer about alien technology or superior firepower. The strength of humanity was in their unity and their refusal to give up. Each battle, each loss, had only made them more determined to protect their planet. As Commander Zaller watched his fleet fall apart, he finally understood the lesson he had ignored from the very beginning: humans were a force to be reckoned with. Their resilience, their courage, and their willpower had turned the tide in a way no one could have predicted. And though the battle was not over, one thing was certain: the Thraxi had met their match. In the face of extinction, humanity had risen, proving once and for all that they were not just survivors, they were warriors, and no one, not even the most powerful alien race, could stand against them. The skies above Earth were filled with the shattered remnants of alien warships. The once imposing alien fleet had been broken, its ships scattered across the stars. But the battle was far from over. The final piece of the puzzle remained: the alien mothership. Hidden behind a shield of defiance, it hovered over Earth, its immense size casting a shadow that could be seen from miles away. This was the heart of the Thraxi invasion, and it had to be destroyed. Humanity's forces, battered and bruised but still resolute, launched a final assault on the mothership. The decision was made: take down the heart of the alien invasion, or Earth would fall forever. With their planetary defense systems in full swing and the alien forces beginning to retreat, humanity knew the only way to ensure victory was to take the fight directly to the enemy. The human assault force, a mix of elite soldiers, AI-assisted combat units, and exoskeletons, approached the mothership with determination in their eyes. They had seen their comrades fall, they had faced unimaginable odds, and yet, here they were, standing on the cusp of the greatest victory humanity had ever known. The battle was fast-paced and brutal. As the humans infiltrated the massive alien mothership, they fought their way through narrow hallways, past heavy security, and into the heart of the vessel. The air was thick with tension as the sound of clashing weapons echoed through the metallic corridors. Humans and aliens alike were fighting for their lives in a relentless, close-quarters battle. The human forces had trained for this moment. They knew the stakes. They had trained their bodies and minds to face challenges beyond their wildest expectations. Now, it was time to put everything they had learned to the test. They fought hand-to-hand with elite alien soldiers, their advanced exoskeletons providing them with enhanced strength and agility, allowing them to take down the enemies that had once seemed impossible to defeat. With every step they took deeper into the mothership, the humans were met with increasing resistance. Alien soldiers, armed with advanced weaponry, fought with precision and ruthlessness, but the humans had something the aliens could never have: adaptability. The humans didn't fight with predictable patterns or pre-programmed strategies. Instead, they adjusted and improvised, reacting to each situation with creativity and innovation. This flexibility allowed them to outmaneuver their foes, making them even more dangerous than the aliens had anticipated. The battle for the mothership was intense. Explosions shook the hulls as human soldiers planted charges on critical structures, weakening the alien ship from the inside. The humans used everything in their arsenal, from EMP devices to smoke bombs, everything they had at their disposal to ensure their mission succeeded. But the final confrontation would be decided not by weapons, but by strategy and willpower. Earth's greatest weapon, however, wasn't just the soldiers on the ground. It was the advanced AI systems that had been developed over the years. The aliens had underestimated the humans in so many ways, and one of their biggest mistakes was failing to realize the full potential of humanity's artificial intelligence. Humanity had long since evolved its AI systems from simple computers to sophisticated, adaptive entities that could learn and evolve on their own. These AIs were not only assisting the human soldiers in combat but were also predicting the alien movements and actions, giving the humans a strategic advantage. As the human forces moved through the alien mothership, the AI systems worked tirelessly behind the scenes, running simulations and analyzing the alien tactics in real time. Each move the aliens made was predicted, and human forces adjusted accordingly. The AI guided the soldiers, directing them toward weak points in the mothership's defenses, predicting enemy reinforcements, and even helping soldiers avoid traps set by the alien forces. It was a fascinating, almost surreal sight, humans and machines working together as one cohesive unit. The soldiers knew their AI partners were always there, offering insights and support, even in the heat of battle. The AI's ability to predict and counter the alien moves made them an invaluable asset. In a way, it was the AI that was turning the tide, guiding the humans to victory against the overwhelming power of the Thraxi. But even though the AI was essential, the human spirit was what ultimately led the charge. The AI might have predicted enemy tactics, but it was the humans who took the risks, made the decisions, and fought to the very end. The synergy between human instinct and machine precision was a powerful combination that left the aliens bewildered and outmatched. The final confrontation came when Commander Zalor, the leader of the Thraxi invasion, realized that the humans had infiltrated the very heart of his mothership. With the human forces advancing and his ship slowly falling apart, Zalor had no choice but to confront the humans head-on. At the heart of the mothership, in a massive command center filled with glowing screens and alien technology, Zalor came face to face with the leader of humanity's forces, Captain Olivia. Captain Olivia was no stranger to war. She had seen the horrors of battle and felt the pain of loss. But what made Olivia stand out wasn't just her combat prowess or her experience, it was her mind. Olivia was a tactical genius, capable of outthinking any enemy, no matter how advanced. She had studied the Thraxi forces, their tactics, and their weaknesses. She knew what to expect, and she had prepared accordingly. Zalor, on the other hand, had underestimated Olivia. He had seen her as just another human leader, a mere speck in the grand scheme of the universe. But as they faced each other, the alien commander realized just how wrong he had been. Olivia wasn't just a soldier, she was a strategic mastermind who had used the human's greatest strength, adaptability, to outsmart him at every turn. Their confrontation was intense. Zalor, with all his strength and alien technology, attacked Olivia with ferocity, but Olivia was ready. She anticipated his moves, using his overconfidence against him. She led him into traps, outsmarted him at every corner, and used his own tactics to bring him to the brink of defeat. The battle was not just physical, it was psychological. Zalor, the once proud commander of the Thraxi, was beginning to break down. His superior technology, his battle-hardened soldiers, and his belief in the Thraxi's dominance all crumbled under the force of Olivia's tactical brilliance. The fight had become more than just a battle for Earth, it was a battle of wills. Olivia's strategy was simple: outsmart, outlast, and outfight. And as the battle unfolded, it became clear that she was doing all three. She led the final assault, using her knowledge of the alien systems to exploit their weaknesses. With each blow she struck against Zalor, he realized he was up against something he had never faced before, the human spirit and the human mind, both far stronger than he had ever anticipated. The final confrontation between Zalor and Olivia marked the turning point of the war. In the heart of the alien mothership, humanity had shown that no matter how advanced the enemy, human ingenuity, adaptability, and resolve could overcome any force. Zalor, once a leader of the most powerful alien race, had been outwitted and defeated by the very species he had dismissed as weak. The battle for Earth was not just about fighting for survival, it was about showing the universe that humanity was not to be underestimated. Earth had not only survived an alien invasion, it had turned the tide, and the Thraxi had learned that humans were a force that could not be defeated. With Commander Zalor's defeat, the Thraxi forces began to crumble. Their mothership was destroyed, and their remaining forces scattered. The humans had done the impossible. They had won. And in doing so, they had shown the galaxy that no matter the enemy, humanity would always fight to the end. This final battle was not just the end of an invasion, it was the beginning of a new era for humanity. The aliens had made a fatal mistake by underestimating the strength and resilience of humans, and they would soon learn that Earth was no longer a planet to be ignored. The final battle had raged for days, with Earth's forces relentlessly pushing against the might of the alien invaders. The once imposing fleet of Commander Zalor was now a smoldering graveyard of twisted metal and wreckage, scattered across the skies. The alien mothership, which had once hovered ominously above Earth, now lay in ruins, its colossal frame burned and broken. The victory was clear, the Thraxi had been decisively defeated. However, the cost of this triumph was not insignificant. As Captain Olivia and her forces looked around the battlefield, the weight of their victory sank in. The ground was littered with the bodies of fallen heroes, brave men and women who had fought with everything they had, knowing that the fate of their planet rested in their hands. Among the fallen was Sergeant Bonner, one of the most respected soldiers. His death had been a turning point in the battle, inspiring his comrades to push forward even when it seemed like all hope was lost. Captain Olivia stood solemnly by the memorial for Bonner and the others who had given their lives for Earth's survival. It was a somber moment, filled with both pride and sorrow. The victory felt sweet, but the emptiness left by the absence of their fallen comrades was undeniable. Bonner's sacrifice had turned the tide of the battle, but it had come at a steep price. Each life lost, each soldier who never returned home, left a hole that could never be filled. The soldiers who remained were physically exhausted, their faces marked by the hardships of war. But despite the losses, they knew that Earth had won. They had defeated the invaders, proving to the galaxy that humanity was not just a small, insignificant planet, it was a force to be reckoned with. The victory was theirs, but it was a victory steeped in sacrifice and heartache. As the sun rose over the battlefield, Captain Olivia addressed her team. "We didn't win because we were better equipped," she said, her voice steady but tinged with emotion. "We won because we refused to give up. The moment we gave up, we would have died. That's what the enemy never understood about us. That's why fighting humans is a death sentence." Her words resonated deeply with everyone who had fought. Humanity's strength wasn't in their weapons, their tech, or their numbers, it was in their unyielding resolve, their refusal to quit, no matter the odds. With the destruction of Commander Zalor's fleet and the crumbling of the Thraxi's military might, the war was officially over. The alien invaders, who had once thought of Earth as a weak, insignificant planet, were now retreating in disarray. The retreat was swift and desperate, as the aliens recognized they had met an enemy unlike any they had faced before. The human spirit had broken them, and now, with their forces scattered and morale shattered, the Thraxi had no choice but to retreat. Humanity's victory over the Thraxi had become a symbol of hope for all the worlds they had once viewed as inferior. The alien alliance, once confident in their technological superiority, now faced the bitter truth: Earth was no longer a planet to be conquered. Earth had shown that the strength of the human spirit, the determination to protect what was theirs, was an unstoppable force. No matter how advanced their technology, the aliens would never be able to defeat the human resolve. As the remaining alien ships fled into the vastness of space, the human forces began the long process of rebuilding. They worked together to clean up the battlefield, honor their fallen heroes, and restore their cities. But even as they celebrated their victory, they knew the world would never be the same. They had faced the impossible and emerged victorious, but they had also lost so much along the way. In the quiet aftermath of the war, as humanity began to pick up the pieces, there was time to reflect. Retired General Harrison, who had led the charge against the Thraxi in the early days of the war, sat by the edge of a peaceful lake, staring out at the horizon. His face, lined with the weariness of battle, bore the scars of years spent leading soldiers into battle. But as he looked out at the stars, a deep sense of understanding settled over him. He had seen the horrors of war and had witnessed the destruction that came with it. But he had also seen humanity's greatest strength, the ability to never give up. That was what had truly made the difference. The aliens had underestimated humanity in every possible way, assuming that technology alone would win the war. They had thought that Earth's armies would fold under the weight of their superior firepower, but they were wrong. Humans fought not just to survive, but to preserve what they held dear. "We didn't fight to survive," General Harrison said, his voice soft but resolute. "We fought because we knew, the moment we gave up, we'd be dead. That's why fighting humans is a death sentence." His words carried the weight of years of experience, and those who had fought alongside him knew he spoke the truth. The alien forces had failed to recognize one simple fact: humans would never surrender. As humanity turned its attention to the stars, beginning to rebuild and heal, the galaxy began to notice a new shift. The victory over the Thraxi had shaken the universe to its core. The once feared alien invaders were now in retreat, and Earth was beginning to stand tall as a powerful, united force. However, as the celebrations died down and the rebuilding efforts gained momentum, a chilling message arrived. A new alien fleet appeared on the edge of human space, its ships glowing ominously as they made their way toward Earth. This was no ordinary fleet. The message they carried was one that would send a shiver down the spine of anyone who heard it. "The humans are coming. Be prepared for their wrath." The message was clear: humanity had made an impression on the galaxy that would never be forgotten. The Thraxi were not the last invaders to underestimate humanity's power. The galaxy would soon learn that Earth's victory wasn't just a fluke, it was the beginning of something much greater. And this new threat, whatever it might be, was about to feel the full force of humanity's wrath. As the alien ships loomed in the distance, humanity stood ready. They had faced the impossible once and emerged victorious. Now, they would do it again. The legacy of humanity was not just in their ability to fight, but in their refusal to ever back down. The universe was about to learn what it meant to face a species that would stop at nothing to protect their home. And so, Earth's fight continued, not for survival, but for the legacy of those who had fought and died, and for the future of all those who would carry that fight into the stars. The legacy of humanity had only just begun.